And now Aeneas's weary crewmen hurry to find the nearby land along their way. They turn toward Libya's coast. There is a cove within a long retiring bay, and there an island's jutting arms have formed a harbor, where every breaker off the high sea shatters, and parts into the shoreline's winding shelters. Along this side and that there towers, vast, a line of cliffs, each ending in light crags. Beneath the ledges, tranquil water lies, silent and wide. The backdrop, glistening forest and beetling from above, a black grove, thick with bristling shadows. Underneath, the facing brow, a cave with hanging rocks, sweet waters, seats of living stone, the home of nymphs. And here no cable holds tired ships, no anchor grips them fast with curving bit. Aeneas shelters here with 7 ships, all he can muster, all the storm has left. The Trojans, longing so to touch the land, now disembark to gain the wished-for sands. They stretch their salt-soaked limbs along the beach. Achates was the first to strike a spark from flint and catch the fire up with leaves. He spread dry fuel about, and then he waved the tinder into flame. Tired of their trials, the Trojan crewmen carry out the tools of Ceres and the sea-drenched corn of Ceres, and they prepare to parch the salvage grain by fire and, next, to crush it under stone. Meanwhile Aeneas climbs a crag to seek a prospect far and wide across the deep. If he can only make out anything of Antheus and his Phrygian galleys, or of Capys, or the armor of Caicus, on his high stern, there is no ship in sight. All he can see are 3 stags, wandering along the shore, their whole herd following behind, a long line grazing through the valley. He halted, snatched his bow and racing arrows, the weapons carried by the true Achates, and first he lays their leader low, their heads held high with tree-like antlers. Then he drives the herd headlong into the leafy groves. They panic, like a rabble, at his arrows. He does not stay his hand until he stretches victoriously 7 giant bodies along the ground, in number like his galleys. This done, he seeks the harbor and divides the meat among his comrades, and he shares the wine that has been stowed by kind Acestus in casks along the shores of Sicily, the wine that, like a hero, the Sicilian had given to the Trojans when they left. Aeneas soothes their melancholy hearts. O comrades, surely we're not ignorant of earlier disasters, we who have suffered things heavier than this. Our God will give an end to this as well. You have neared the rage of Scylla and her caves, resounding rocks, and you have known the Cyclops crags. Call back your courage, send away your grieving fear. Perhaps one day you will remember even these our adversities with pleasure. Through so many crises and calamities we make for Latium, where fates have promised a peaceful settlement. It is decreed that there the realm of Troy will rise again. Hold out and save yourself for kinder days. These are his words. Though sick with heavy cares, he counterfeits hope in his face. His pain is held within, hidden. His men make ready the game that is to be their feast. They flayed the deer hides off the ribs. The flesh lies naked. Some slice off quivering strips and pierce them with sharp spits, while on the beach the others set cauldrons of brass and tend to flame. With food their strength comes back again. Along the grass they stretch and fill their bellies full of fat, venison meat and well-aged wine. That done, their hunger banished by the feasting and the tables cleared. Their talk is long, uncertain between their hope and fear, as they ask after their lost companions, wondering if their comrades are still alive, or if they have gone underground, the final change and can no longer hear. When called upon, especially the pious Aeneas moans within himself the loss, now of the vigorous Orentus, now of Amycus, the cruel end of Lycus, the doom of brave Cloanthus, of brave Gaius. Their food and talk were done when Jupiter, while gazing from the peaks of upper air, across the waters winged with canvas and low-lying lands, and shores and widespread peoples, stood high upon the pinnacle of heaven, until he set his sight on Libya's kingdom. And as he ponders this, the saddened Venus, her bright eyes dimmed and tearful, speaks to him. O you who, with eternal rule, command and govern the events of gods and men, and terrifying them with your thunderbolt, what great offence has my Aeneas given? What is his crime? What have the Trojans done that, having undergone so many deaths, the circle of all lands is shut against them, and just because of Italy? Surely you have sworn that out of them, in time to come, with turning years, the Romans will be born, and, from the resurrected blood of Teucer, rise up as rulers over sea and land. What motive, father, made you change? That promise was solace for Troy's fall and its sad ruin. I weighed this fate against the adverse fates. But now their former fortune still pursues the Trojans, driven by so many evils. Great king, is there no end to this ordeal? Antenor could escape the Argive army, then make his way through the Illyrian bays, the inner land of the Liburnians, and safely across the source of the Timavus, where, with a mighty mountain roar, it rushes through the 9 mouths, till its flood bursts, overwhelming the fields beneath with its resounding waters. Yet here he planted Padua, a town and home for Teocreans, and gave his nation a name, and then hung up the arms of Troy. And now, serene, he tastes tranquillity. But we, your very children, we whom you had promised heaven's height, have lost our ships, unspeakable, just for the rage of one. We are betrayed, kept far from Italy. Is this the way you give us back our scepter? But then he smiled upon her, Jupiter, father of men and gods. Just as he calms the heavens and the storms, he lightly kissed his daughter's lips. These were his words to Venus. My Cytherea, that's enough of fear. Your children's fate is firm. You'll surely see the walls I promised you, Lavinium's city, and you shall carry your great-hearted son, Aeneas, high as heaven's stars. My will is still the same. I have not changed. Your son, I now speak out. I know his anxiousness is gnawing at you. I enroll the secret scroll of the fates, awake its distant pages. Shall wage tremendous war in Italy, and crush ferocious nations, and establish a way of life and walls for his own people, until the time of his 3rd summer, as the king of Latium, until he has passed 3 winters since he overcame the Latins. But then the boy Asanius, who now is carrying Iulius as his surname, while the state of Ilium held fast, he still was known as Ilus. With his rule shall fill the wheeling months of 30 mighty years. He shall remove his kingdom from Lavinium, and, powerful, build Alba Longa's walls. For full 300 years the capital, the ruler of Hector's race, shall be at Alba, until a royal priestess, Ilia, with child by Mars, has brought to birth twin sons, and then, rejoicing in the tawny hide of his nursemaid, the she-wolf, Romulus, shall take the rulership and build the walls of Mars' own city. Romulus shall call that people Romans, after his own name. I set no limits to their fortunes and no time. I give them empire without end. Then even bitter Juno shall be changed, for she who now harassed lands and heavens with terror, then shall hold the Romans dear together with me, cherishing the masters of all things, and the race that wears the toga. This is what I decree. An age shall come along the way of gliding lustre, when the house born of Assaracus shall hold both Athea and illustrious Mycenae, and rule defeated Argos. Then a Trojan, Caesar, shall rise out of that splendid line. His empire's boundary shall be the ocean, the only border to his fame, the stars. His name shall be derived from great Iulus, and shall be Julius. In time to come, no longer troubled, you shall welcome him to heaven, weighted with Orion's wealth. He too shall be invoked with prayers, with battle forgotten. Savage generations shall grow generous, and aged faith and Vesta, together with the brothers, Romulus and Remus, shall make laws. The gruesome gates of war, with tightly welded iron plates, shall be shut fast. Within, unholy rage shall sit on his ferocious weapons, bound behind his back by 100 knots of brass. He shall groan horribly, with bloody lips. The words of Jupiter were done. He sends the son of Maia, down from heaven, that the new-found lands and fortresses of Carthage be opened wide and welcome to the Trojans, that Dido, ignorant of destiny, not drive away Aeneas from her boundaries. He flies across the great air, using wings as oars. He quickly lands on Libyan shores. He does as he was told, and the Phoenicians now set aside their savagery before the will of God, and Dido, above all, receives into her spirit kindliness, a gracious mind to greet the Teocrians. But, night long, many cares have held the pious Aeneas, and as soon as gracious daylight is given to him, this is his decision, to go out and explore this foreign country, to learn what shores the wind has brought him to. Who lives upon this land? It is untilled. Are they wild beasts or men? And then to tell his comrades what he has found. He hides his fleet inside the narrows of the wooded cove, beneath a hollow rock shut in by trees, with bristling shades around, and he himself, only Aeneas at his side, moves on. He brandished 2 shafts tipped with broad iron. But in the middle of the wood, along the way, his mother showed herself to him. The face and dress she wore were like a maiden's, her weapons like a girl's from Sparta, or those carried by Harpalus of Thrace when she tires out her horses, speeding faster even than rapid Hebrus as she races. For, as a huntress would, across her shoulder Venus has slung her bow in readiness. Her hair was free, dishevelled by the wind. Her knees were bare, her tunic's flowing folds were gathered in a knot, and she speaks first. "Young men there, can you tell me if by chance you have seen one of my sisters pass? She wore a quiver and a spotted lynx's hide, while she was wandering here, or, with her shouts, chasing a foaming boar along its course." So Venus, answering her son, began, "I have not seen or heard your sister, maiden, or by what name am I to call you? For your voice is not like a human voice. O goddess, you must be Apollo's sister, or else are to be numbered with the nymphs. Whoever you may be, do help us, ease our trials. Do tell us underneath what skies, upon what coasts of earth we have been cast. We wander, ignorant of men and places, and driven by the wind and vast waves. Before your altars many victims will fall at our hands as offerings to you." Then Venus, "I can hardly claim such honor. The girls of Tyre are used to wearing quivers, and bind their calves with scarlet hunting boots. You see Punic country, men of Tyre, the city of Agenor. But at the border the Libyans lie, a tribe that swears by war. Our ruler here is Dido, she who left her city when she had to flee her brother. The tale of wrong is intricate and long, but I shall trace its chief events in order.